Michael Strahan responds to Warren Sapp. I'm Jim Basquil with the latest ESPN headlines. Sapp again has something to say about Stray's eligibility for the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And this is what the two quotes were. This first up from Warren Sapp, who was asked about Michael Strahan and the Hall of Fame. Stray didn't make it in his first shot. And this is what he had to say. I don't think his resume stacks up. 4 straight Pro Bowls, a mythical sack record. When you really measure it up, he comes up short. Expect when you all are giving it to him. Oh, by the way, I might want to just add to that it's 7 Pro Bowls for Strahan, 2 straight of 3 in a row for Stray, just to get the facts straight. Here's Stray's response. I am all hype. I lasted 15 years, all hype. I had 141 and a half career sacks, all hype. I was always a starter. I played left end, and that helped me get sacks. My coaches kept putting me in because it gave us the best chance to win, and that was all hype. A little tongue-in-cheek there from Stray responding. We're joined by Dan Graziano, who covers the Giants for ESPN.com with some more insight. And Dan, first up, why do you suppose Michael Strahan's eligibility or induction to the Hall of Fame, why is that so important to Warren Sapp, where his feelings are so strong against it?
I think that's the mystifying aspect of all this, Jim. I think, it's obvious he's annoyed about that single-season sack record and thinks Brett Favre handed it to him. But to hold the grudge, especially after he got into the Hall of Fame first, you'd think at that point you would consider yourself the winner and just leave it alone. But it's clear that he holds the grudge. It's clear that Strahan finds it amusing, and that's sort of where it stands at this point. Obviously, Strahan, looks like a favorite to get in Saturday night in his second go-round. But we're talking to Strahan today. He just said, he just doesn't spend a whole lot of time worrying about what Sapp thinks or what anybody else thinks about it.
It's funny because Warren Sapp is an NFL analyst for the NFL Network, so you'd have to figure, just looking at the numbers here, and we have the numbers of both guys in a sense. You mentioned Sapp getting in last year. Strahan, 141 and a half career sacks, but he's only really remembered for 1 sack, it appears. He had more tackles as a defensive end than Sapp did as a tackle, played 2 more years. If you were voting, what would you say about Michael Strahan in the Hall of Fame?
I mean, I was surprised he didn't get in last year, but Jim, you have to understand that voting takes place. It's 50 people in a room for 7 hours, 1 day a year.
I've been
and
there,
that's how the voting takes place. It's twisted and weird and unpredictable, and I have no idea how to handicap it. So from the outside looking in, yes, you look and say, I have a hard time seeing what the difference is between Sapp's case and Strahan's case and why Sapp got in and Strahan didn't. But somewhere in that room, somebody made an argument, and people voted that way. So it could go Strahan's way this year. It seems like he should be in. Sapp was listing guys that he thought made a stronger case than Strahan: Tony Dungy, Derek Brooks, Walter Jones. So that's sort of the point he was trying to make, although he made it about this personal feud again, which, again, is very weird.
Is there some underlining kind of rivalry that was hanging out there from their playing days that we're unaware of?
I think so. I mean, that seems to be what happened, and it seems like Sapp was annoyed when Strahan got that record. So it may be that that's the case, but they didn't line up against each other. They both played defense. They didn't play in the same division, so I don't know why there would have been such a rivalry, but obviously there's some strong personal feeling, at least one way.
Again, Sapp played defensive tackle. Stray played defensive end, and as Dan mentioned, the 15 finalists, of which Strahan is among them, will be announced for who gets in on Saturday. Dan Graziano covers the New York Giants and covers the Super Bowl for ESPN.com. Dan, we appreciate the insight.
All right, thanks, Jim.
You, of course, could read more about this story right here on ESPN.com. With the latest ESPN headlines, I'm Jim Basquil.